Get outside your comfort zone. It's an easy thing to say. It's a simple concept. Yeah. And it seems self-explanatory. We spend too much of our life living inside what we know. What is easy, what is simple, what is comfortable. It's like that concept that when you are depressed or feeling low or anxious or things like this, and you feel like your life is spiraling out of control, one of the things that people often revert to is listening to the same song, watching the same movies, watching TV shows, things like this, reading the same books. They revert to familiar and comfortable things that are within their control. And also because it reminds us of past times. So usually we're going to pick things that were within that time frame of where we used to be. But furthermore of this, we choose to rehash old things because we know what's going to happen. There's no surprises. So there's comfortability, there's easiness, there is satisfaction, there is joy, there is calmness, there is predictability in choosing something that we know the outcome of. We know what's going to come of this. And so we revert back to these things. So the idea of getting outside your comfort zone, for a lot of people, is one of those ones that is nice in theory, but most people will never do. They never actually put into practice this concept of getting outside your comfort zone. Because, well, it's uncomfortable. The irony of it, getting outside your comfort zone is uncomfortable. Who would have thunk it? And yet it's one of the most important things that you can do. It's one of those things of, for growth, for success, for happiness, for fulfillment, all these things, you need to learn how to get outside your comfort zone. You need to learn how to push forward and do these things and find ways to reach to these highest levels, to willingly and voluntarily choose that, yeah, I know this is going to be really uncomfortable and I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to push through the discomfort. And it teaches your mind resilience. It creates different neural pathways and makes you a better person. It makes your brain function higher. It makes you more resilient to doing these things. Because it teaches you that being uncomfortable doesn't mean that you run away. It's like a fight or flight response that, we've gotten so deconditioned in our society that our fight or flight response is used for, bills and stress and things that are uncomfortable and frustrating, but not life-threatening, not anything like this. And so often our answer is flight. Not in the physical sense of running away, but in the sense of sedation, of avoidance, of just not doing things that are outside your comfort zone. And we have to shift that. If you want to lead your best life, if you want to grow, if you want to step forward into your power, to see who you can become on the other side, you have to be willingly and actively seeking out things that make you uncomfortable. And, within obvious reasons, mine are usually fitness related. My weighted walks makes people uncomfortable. Like, this concept of doing a weighted walk every single day. People are like, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. That's so uncomfortable. I was talking to someone today and they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's 10 kilos. And I'm like, yeah, today's 10 kilos, but yesterday was 30. And they're like, 30? Fuck that for a joke. There's zero chance I'd do that. And I was like, I wouldn't start there. But, it's about pushing your limits. It's about getting uncomfortable. It's about doing things that are difficult. It's the whole fucking point. I want it to be uncomfortable. And that 30 kilos is still rough. Fuck me, is it rough to do. Like, it hurts every time. And it is a slog. And I'm like, good. Because I'm training my mental muscle. I'm training that muscle to work through that, to not accept that first knee-jerk reaction that I don't like this, therefore I won't do this. No, it's not a fucking good enough reason not to do that shit. That is not a good enough reason to throw in the towel on that. Not by a fucking long shot is that a good enough reason. So we have to get uncomfortable. It's the same with working out. It's the same with animal-based diet. It's the same with drinking 4 liters of water. It's the same with taking the daily photo and, staring yourself in the face and knowing exactly where you are and owning it. It's about choosing things that are uncomfortable and facing them head on. Because this is where the growth happens. Nothing's going to change with you stuck in your comfort zone. Nothing is going to get better. Nothing is going to improve while you stay in your comfort zone. So you've got to make choices that are going to push you forward. But within that, it also doesn't just have to be fitness. Yes, I would strongly fucking recommend the weighted walks and weight training and animal-based diet and drinking the 4 liters of water and the daily photos. I could recommend 1,000 other different things. But it doesn't have to just be fitness. And it can also be geared at your level. Now, I have been lifting since I was 14 years old. I am turning 33 this year. So for nearly 2 decades, I have been lifting weights. So, yeah, I can still make it uncomfortable. Yeah, I can still push myself in the weight room, but obviously it's not as uncomfortable as someone who's their first time lifting weights. But it comes down to that different levels and where you're at in life and in the process. I'm currently doing essentially rehab. They're not actually rehab, but compared to the style of training that I normally do, it's basically fucking rehab for my knee and my shoulder. I tore my ACL and my meniscus 12 months ago, and I started back at basketball, and I want to be bulletproof. I want to be strong enough to handle playing basketball and also to be there for my kids for the long haul. My shoulder is a niggling injury from 15 odd years ago that I never bothered to spend the time actually addressing. So I'm dealing with that. So for me, the level of workout that I'm doing is really rudimentary, very easy. It's hardly physically pushing me. But on the flip side, on the mental component of me, it is kicking the shit out of me. Because I really struggle to do gentle. I really struggle to do easy. And there's still hard workouts and it's pushing my muscles, but it's not, load up the weights as heavy as you can fucking go and thrash yourself. It's not going to failure on every set. It's not, muscle splitting pumps. It's do this, knee over toe lunge until your knees can't take it anymore. It's do these tib raises and get the, fat pump in your tibialis. It's those kinds of things that, for who I am, who likes lifting heavy, who likes pushing weight, that's a really hard struggle because half of these are fucking body weight. And then I'm walking away going, Jesus Christ, what the fuck has just happened to me? And that's the difference, that you can find uncomfortable in what makes you uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be the same things. And I can guarantee you the things that make me uncomfortable aren't going to be the same things that make you uncomfortable. Like today with this. I'm on my way back from a men's mental health group called Walk It Off today. And I showed up there. It's a community where you're talking about your mental health and you just go for a walk and you have a chat with guys and you open up about it. I knew fucking no one at that event. The one person I might have known wasn't there. That's uncomfortable for me. Yeah, I'm great at talking. Yeah, I can spin a yarn. Yeah, I can run a room when I need to. But generally speaking, I do that in a situation where I am in control. And I was not in control today. This was not my rodeo. This was not my circus. They were not my monkeys. And it made me extremely uncomfortable. I spent the majority of the day today being really fucking nervous about it. But I went and did it. And it was a good experience. And it was a good chance to meet new people and put myself outside of my comfort zone and have chats to people I had nothing in common with and just start conversations with and just have a yarn kind of thing for, it was about an hour and a half. No, 2 hours. That's uncomfortable for me. And I had this question because I was telling someone else about this and they were like, oh, but you're an extrovert. And I was like, fucking not on your life am I an extrovert. I am an introvert. Generally speaking, I like being by myself or being with my wife or being with my kids, I can turn the extrovert mode on because of how much that benefits my life, it benefits other people's lives, of the connections it creates. We need those connections, but that is not something that comes naturally to me. It is something that I learned. It is a skill that I developed over years, and I have to throw back to my first job. So I got qualified as a personal trainer when I was 17 years old, and my first job was working at a Fitness First. And the guy who I was working under, he was like, all right, if you're going to make it in this industry, you need to learn how to talk to people, and you need to learn how to talk to randoms. And I was so deeply introverted. I was like, in my own little bubble, and I didn't want to reach out to people. I could talk to people if I had to talk to people, but I didn't want to talk to people if I didn't have to. And he was like, all right, you've got a 4-hour shift. You got to go talk to 100 people every shift. And he's like, I don't care if that's a hello or nice rep or doing good or something like that, but you have to talk to 100 people, and at least 10 of them have to turn into actual conversations. And I nearly fucking shat myself. It was horrendous, like beyond horrendous, that experience. And yet it was so pivotal. It was so important. And look, there are times where I have lost that skill because I don't utilize it, but that was one of those moments where I was like, this is something that you need. It's one of those things that I'm trying to impart onto my children, because neither me nor my wife are extroverted. And it looks like my daughter has got it to the fucking 9. She is extroverted as shit and will like go out there and make friends with a brick wall. But that ability to engage in people and create trust and intrigue and interest, and it's an important skill, and one that I've gotten rusty at. I've gotten very comfortable at people just come to me. People come to my domain, they come into my gym. I run the show. I'm the authority. There is an instant establishment of authority figures, and this is my show. I've gotten used to that. I've set up the business so that it's pre-handled, that people come into me and they know what to expect. They know who I am, and I'm pre-framed as the expert before they step foot in the door. It's pre-framed as I already know who I am and what we're doing. So, I've gotten used to that. So I had to get outside of my comfort zone, and a mentor of mine challenged me to do something like this, to push forward and do something that got me into the community, got me out to meet people. And I went there to meet new people, to push my comfort zone, and to promote this, to see if these would be the type of people who could be benefiting from a Chasing Greatness program. And I believe I found some of them. I believe I did. And now I've got to work out that next step on how I introduce them to this program. But I got outside my comfort zone, and I did that. And so much of that is what it's about. It's about doing things that will challenge you for who you are. Not compared to me, not compared to other people out there, like, the David Goggins, the Ned Brockmans, these types of guys who are doing phenomenal feats. They're uncomfortable and you're uncomfortable are going to be very different. But it's like, I talk about lifting weights. I had this discussion the other day in the gym. And one of my clients deadlifted for the first time. Very exciting day. They were stoked about it. And we spoke about, they were like, oh, it's not that heavy. And I'm like, heavy is heavy. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, heavy is heavy. So one of my friends, for a period of time, held the world record in squat and deadlift. Phenomenal achievement. And he got asked all the time, what does it feel like? I think he squatted 1,000 pounds or deadlifted 1,000 pounds or something, might not have been that, but huge fucking numbers. Anyway. And they're like, what does that feel like? And his response was always, what does your max deadlift feel like? you describe it. It's heavy and it's like you don't think it's going to move and you just feel it inch by inch grinding off the ground and it gets there. He's like, it feels like that. 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 400 pounds, 500 pounds, 1,000 pounds, whatever it is. If it's heavy for you, it's fucking heavy. Heavy is heavy. It doesn't matter how you stack up against others. Heavy is just heavy. And you have the choices within that. So it's not about comparing yourself to, it's like that analogy in a book. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 30. You don't know the process they've gone through to get there. But it's about what it does for you. It's the same with, the weighted walks. It's the same with the workouts. It's the same with all of this. This is about how it challenges you and pushes you into being the best version you can be. About pushes you forward into how you're going to show up. That's all that matters. It's about doing the work, and the work varies from person to person. The intensity levels varies from person to person. As I said, we were talking about the weight vest. So I went on this thing, and it's a walk for men where they can walk and talk kind of thing. And it was about 4Ks kind of thing. It's a pretty cruisy, comfortable walk. But I didn't know what to expect. So I rocked up today with my 10 kilo weight vest on. And obviously I got some questions about it, and we're talking about that. And they were like, one person was like, oh, just the 10 kilos? And I was like, well, I just wanted to go really cruisy light today because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect from this situation. I didn't know what this was going to look like. And so I didn't want to rock up in my 30 kilo weight vest and just get absolutely fucking slaughtered on that. Because I'm happy to do that, but it wasn't the point of tonight. And I know that I end up trudging in the 30 kilos. But for some people, the idea of putting on a weight vest at all was mind-boggling. Like, why would you make the walk harder than it already is? Whereas for me, a 10 kilo weight vest is fucking, nothing. Like, it's petty change kind of thing. Like, I barely noticed I'm wearing it. Just makes me run a little bit hotter. Like, that's about it. And so that was the point for me. But, for them, that was like 10 kilos is beyond the scope, beyond what they feel they could comfortably do. Whereas for me, that's 30, well, that's not even 30 kilos. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, I do, I'll get a heavier weight vest. But, 40 kilos is now the thing that I'm like, wonder if that's doable. I wonder if that's possible. That's beyond the scope for me right now. But I remember when 20 was that giant challenge, and I remember when 30 was the giant challenge. But it's about continually putting yourself into a position to get uncomfortable. It's about putting yourself into a moment where you can work hard, where you can get uncomfortable and you can get the growth. And that's all that fucking matters, is getting the growth. That we do this to grow, we do this to develop, we do this to become the best version of ourselves. And there is no static. There is no holding steady. There is either growing or dying. There is nothing in between. So we need to make decisions to grow. We need to make decisions to thrive. We need to make decisions to push forward, to be the best version of ourselves, to see how we can develop and become better versions, to see who we can become when we do the work, when we get uncomfortable. And as I said, I would strongly fucking recommend that you do the weight components, that you do that kind of stuff, that you do the pushing forward with the weight training, with the weighted walks, with the animal-based diet, because you being in the best fucking shape of your life is a gift that you cannot fathom. It gives on so many levels. It separates you on so many aspects and gives you confidence and self-belief and self-respect and a status symbol that cannot be earned. We're in a men's mental health walking group. There was one other dude there. One who was in shape. One fucking guy. And look, I think it is a great thing that what they're doing, and this is the beginning, and this is how you get better. But I'm looking at these guys and going, I think a lot of your problems would start to get better if you took seriously your health and fitness. If you legitimately took on a weight training program and invested in yourself. And I think that's the long and short of a lot of the stuff we do. That I think a lot of people's stuff would go away and get phenomenally fucking better if they got into great shape. You know, it's an Alex Hormozy quote, and they're like, 99% of a man's problems can be fixed by getting in great fucking shape and making more fucking money. Another one, really simple, really fucking simple in practice, hard to execute, but so worthwhile, so worth the effort, so worth doing the work for that. Because yeah, everything in your life will get fucking better if you execute like that. Everything in your life will improve if you execute like that. It's the same with this. I think this is a fantastic group, that they are doing a great thing, because men are not face-to-face communicators. We are side-by-side communicators, and we need to do something to feel comfortable. And it allows us to relax and process things more and express ourselves more and be a part of it. Like sitting face-to-face with psychologists or counselors or things like that, which I have done, is awkward as shit, and it's hard to process. And even though you may get the answers, you didn't actually get the answers. You were told the answers, but you didn't receive the answers, and they are separate fucking things. You know, there's a big difference between telling and receiving. And this is a great opportunity for men to just talk about their problems and just be supported. And we need community. We need to be a part of things. We need men out there to connect with and have a tribe of men. And that's exactly what I'm trying to build with this. And this is exactly what I'm trying to do with this, is to build my tribe, and so that we can all support each other and uplift each other. But I think for a lot of them, so much of their life would drastically improve with that single commitment to their health and fitness. They just started with nominating 30 days of their life to a Chasing Greatness program. Just commit to a 30-day challenge that every single day you're going to fucking do that one thing. And then you stack it, and then you add another thing, and then you stack it, and you add another thing, and you're stacking these wins. And you get 4 or 5 months in, and you've got 150 days of credibility under your belt of the man that you are becoming. Life is looking a hell of a lot fucking different at that point. You are showing up as a different man. And a lot of the things that I heard today would start to pale in comparison. And then they can lead by example. And that's part of this strength of a community, that if you show up and you're leading by example, you're showing what can happen, and you can show how to be that guy. And others are like, well, what are you doing? How is your life so great? How did you get to this point? And you tell them, and they build resilience, and you build mental fortitude, and you build grit, and you build discipline, and you progress forward in these areas. You know, I'm not claiming that my life is all sunshine and rainbows. There are no speed bumps or hiccups in this life. No, there are great ups and downs in this process in my life. But I'm building the resilience to handle that. That I'm building the ability and the capacity to show up, and when life throws me fucking curveballs, I smack them out of the park. That whatever is thrown at me, I can handle because of the work I've done outside of that. Because I show up every day and I test myself and I get uncomfortable and I battle against that. And I know my mind and I know my body and I know my levels and I know myself. That I can withstand that I can build the resilience and the focus and the drive and the grit and the determination and the ability to fucking do this work. And that's how you get better. That you start building the credibility with yourself. That whatever is thrown at you, you can fucking handle. Whatever is tossed your way, you have taken more yourself. That you have actively and willingly chosen to do things that are more difficult than whatever life can throw at you. And even if it's not, even if it's something that's a whole new kettle of fish, and you're like, holy shit, you have a track record of showing the fuck up and getting shit done. You have a track record of doing the work and winning at life. So in your head, as soon as you get faced with that adversity, your mind goes, cool. We know how we handle adversity. Look at this. Look how many fucking wins in a row. How many days in a row that you have won the fucking day. Where you faced adversity by choice, voluntarily, head on, and you came out victorious. That you chose to put yourself under stress, under load, under adversity, and you fucking won. Bring it on. Bring on anything else that you want to throw at me, because I am fucking ready for it. I am here to handle it. I am up for the challenge. And that comes from building the credibility with yourself. It comes from building the grit and the determination and the fortitude. And I've said it before, our society has